Hi, my name's Kara-Leah. I'm at the beach and just walking the beach, really contemplating something that's been in conversation a lot with people around me in the last few days, and thought I'd share what I've been contemplating. In the past sort of maybe 10 years, I've made a real effort to cultivate what I would call conscious relationship. When I say relationship, I mean friendship, so I'm not talking necessarily a romantic relationship, although that's definitely one aspect. The friendships that I've built up have been focused around other people who want to wake up. It's that simple, really. You could say that traditional friendship is generally focused around keeping us comfortable wearing our masks, reassuring each other that those masks are on straight and that those masks look great and yeah, we're awesome. There's nothing wrong with that to a degree. Like, that's just the way that it's mostly been. However, for so many of us, as we're growing and evolving and doing our practices, our meditation and our yoga, these kind of relationships start to feel inauthentic and fake, and we feel kind of like we're boxed in and we can't be who we really are in those friendships. And so we start to feel like there's something wrong with us because we're not able to relate to the people around us the way that the people around us are relating to each other. So there's a transition that needs to happen. There's first of all a recognition that you're growing and you're changing, and what was important for you 5-10 years ago is no longer important for you. And when you do practices, when you do yoga or meditation, when you start to really care about knowing yourself deeply, about tapping into the love that you are, about stepping into your power, about being real, authentic, vulnerable, your relationships, your friendships, they have to change too. And it really, really helps if you can identify this and if you can do it consciously. So for me, I was fortunate. When I was in a space of being on the cusp of this, I started going to kirtan, to chanting in Wellington. And when I did that, I met this entire group of like-minded, like-souled people who were on the path at the same place as me, basically. And so I formed some really fast, amazing, deep relationships with these people, friendships that I still have today. And I've been walking the path with them now, and we wake each other up. So what does conscious friendship look like? The difference between, say, conscious friendship and regular friendship is that in regular friendship, we will often validate each other's stories. We will agree and support and indulge each other's filters and limiting beliefs and ideas and patterns. And in conscious relationship and conscious friendship, it's different. So I'll give you an example. I was really deeply triggered about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I knew I was deeply triggered. I knew I needed to talk to just the right friend who would not allow me to indulge in my story around it, and would be able to hold me in love and compassion and presence, and also ask just the right questions to help me to see clearly what was going on. So I called my friend Melissa Billington, and she's the bomb, this woman. Like, she's been teaching for a long time. She's walking the path authentically. Like, she knows her stuff. And I'm walking the beach. We're on phone, and we're having this conversation. And she just keeps asking me questions. She's listening to my story. And when she asks me the questions, can you just sit with that? Is it okay to be uncomfortable with how this is making you feeling? It's just like, no, it's fucking not. It's not. I just wanted to resist and defend and like, bah! However, I know that desire to resist and to defend and to I know that means Melissa is pointing to a truth. And because I trust her, and because I love her, and I know she loves me, and she has my best interests at heart, I was able to do what she asked. I was able to, and she's asking me questions, right? She's not telling me what to do. And this is a real key thing in conscious relationship, is that we use the method of inquiry as a way to help each other to see and to feel the truth. And so as Melissa asked me these questions, and she just gently guided me out of my mind, out of my conditioning, out of the fear, out of the patterning, and back down into my heart. And it was such a profoundly powerful experience. A lot of people go to therapy for months in order to have that same experience that I was able to have with Melissa in 60 minutes. And the reason for this is that when you build up conscious friendships, you really deeply open yourselves to each other in all your realness and rawness, and then you hold each other with that love and that support. You care about each other, and you won't let each other indulge in the mind, indulge in the stories, because you know that way leads to suffering, and you don't want your friends to suffer. So that's the difference between regular friendship, which tends to reinforce the conditioning of the mind, and conscious friendship, which seeks to help us break down and release the conditioning of the mind. Then the question arises, and this is what people have been asking me. They're like, I want friendships like that. What do I do? How do I cultivate them? I don't know how to do this. Like all my friends, I would say go to places where you are likely to meet, bump into, connect with other people who are likely to be also on the path. So yeah, chanting, kirtan for me worked in that particular case in Wellington. Another place that I've met a lot of my awesome conscious friends has been at festivals like prana, consciousness festivals where people really are on that path to different levels. Yoga studios, maybe. A lot of my friends I met in Wellington, they were actually studio owners and teachers. Interestingly enough, a lot of them have now got out of the yoga industry, which is interesting. But they're still deeply committed to the path, to waking up. But yeah, go to places where other people are waking up. And then you also have to make a commitment to yourself that when you relate to people, that you are willing to be real, that you're willing to be vulnerable, and that you're willing to ask for what you need. And so to be clear in your communication. So when you're going through a tough time and you call up a friend and say, I need support right now, you can actually say to them, don't let me indulge in the conditioned mind. Don't let me indulge in my story. Can you just really listen with love and maybe ask me a few questions so I can feel what the truth is? And if you've already got a practice of self-inquiry, which is at the heart of waking up, really, the heart of spiritual practice, then it's much easier to transfer that skill into your relationships with other people. And for some of us, this is a skill that can be taught. So when you are further along the path of conscious friendship, then you help other people step up into that path, and you sort of cultivate friendships where you're growing this sense of conscious friendship. Okay. This is really important. This feels really, really important actually, because as we wake up, and we are waking up, there is no doubt about that, we wake up faster when we support each other with love, with compassion, with understanding, and with truth. And that's the other aspect about conscious relationship, is it ain't always comfortable. When I was having that conversation with Melissa, it fucking sucked in aspects, because I had to turn around and face the truth of what I was experiencing. I had to face my fear. I had to sit with my fear and make friends with my fear. And regular friendship kind of coddles us. It protects us from discomfort. It protects us from our fears. And when you step into a path of conscious friendship, you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable. You've got to be willing to be on the edge. You've got to be willing to be a pioneer. But that's what's needed, and the rewards are great. And when we do this together as a community, we start to wake each other up. The pace accelerates because we learn from each other. We wake each other up. So it's crucial, man. It's what it's all about. Okay, so my name is Kara-Leah, and I want nothing more for you than to be able to feel that you can be your real, authentic, valuable, beautiful self in the friendships closest to you. And I want nothing more for you than for you to be able to effortlessly cultivate friendships and relationships with people who are willing to get real and vulnerable and hold you in that space, because they deeply care about you and they won't let you hide away from yourself anymore. Much love.